Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we dive into the latest global news and trends. I'm your host, Barbara, and I'm excited to share today's top stories with you. We're starting off with a developing story in the Middle East, where tensions between Israel and Syria have escalated. On Wednesday, Israel launched airstrikes on the Syrian capital of Damascus, targeting the Syrian military headquarters and areas near the presidential palace. The Israeli government claims these strikes were in response to attacks on the Druze minority in Syria. For those who may not be familiar, the Druze are a small Middle Eastern religious sect with communities spread across several countries in the region, including Syria, Lebanon, Israel, and Jordan. In Syria, they number around 700,000 and make up about 3% of the country's population. The Druze have been seeking protection and minority rights under the new Syrian government. The situation is complex, with various factions and opinions within the Druze community. While some Druze leaders have expressed support for a unified and pluralistic Syria, others have taken a more confrontational stance. Israel's government has offered to protect the Druze in Syria, but many analysts see this as a pretext to limit Syrian influence in the south of the country. The United Nations Security Council is set to meet on Thursday to discuss the crisis between Israel and Syria. The international community is watching closely, as the conflict has the potential to escalate into a broader regional crisis. We'll continue to monitor the situation and bring you updates as more information becomes available. It's essential to approach this story with nuance and understanding, recognizing the historical and cultural context that underpins the relationships between these nations and communities. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're glad you're still with us as we dive into the world of politics. Today, we're discussing a significant development in the UK Labour Party. The party has suspended 4 MPs for defying party orders and rebelling against a key piece of legislation on welfare cuts. According to reports, the 4 MPs, Rachel Maskell, Neil Duncan-Jordan, Brian Leishman, and Chris Hinchliffe, were suspended after they voted against the government's proposed cuts to disability benefits. The move has sparked a debate about party discipline and the role of backbenchers in shaping policy. Minister Jess Phillips has defended the decision, stating that the suspensions were not just about voting against a particular bill, but about constantly going on the airwaves, slagging off your own government. However, some Labour MPs have expressed shock and disappointment at the move, with one senior MP describing it as an overreaction. The suspended MPs have vowed to continue supporting the Labour government as independents, while also advocating for their constituents' interests. Rachel Maskell told the BBC that she would not be silenced and would do everything in her power to support the government, even if it means speaking out against certain policies. This development raises important questions about the balance between party loyalty and individual conscience. Should MPs be free to vote according to their principles, even if it means going against the party line? Or is it essential for them to toe the party line in order to maintain discipline and cohesion? We'll continue to follow this story and bring you updates as more information becomes available. In the meantime, we'd love to hear from you. Do you think the Labour Party was right to suspend these MPs, or was it an overreaction? Share your thoughts with us on social media using the hashtag #Barbara'sBulletin. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we wrap up today's show, I want to bring you a critical update on the ongoing efforts to combat the fentanyl epidemic in our country. Recent developments have sparked concerns among public health officials and those affected by this crisis. According to reports, the White House has announced that funding for the Overdose Data to Action, or ODDA program, will be dispersed in increments rather than as a single annual payment. This program, run by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, is crucial in supporting overdose prevention and addiction treatment efforts across the nation. While administration officials have assured that the funds will continue to be allocated, public health experts and CDC staffers have expressed uncertainty about how this new approach will impact their work. With roughly $140 million still pending, many state and local health departments are facing challenges in planning and executing their programs, as they rely on these federal funds to operate. On one hand, the Trump administration has taken steps to address the fentanyl crisis, including signing the HALT Fentanyl Act, which toughens penalties for fentanyl trafficking. President Trump has also emphasized his commitment to securing the border and targeting drug cartels. On the other hand, public health officials have raised concerns about the unpredictability of funding allocations under this administration. The sudden shift in funding for AID grants has left many questioning whether they can rely on federal support for their critical work. As we consider these developments, it's essential to acknowledge the complexity of this issue and the need for a comprehensive approach that involves both prevention and treatment. We must also recognize the human impact of this crisis, which affects families and communities across our nation. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged.